So good morning to all of you. This is the application part of mass spectrometry. So in this session, we will discuss in detail regarding mass fragmentation analysis, basic principles. Okay. So normally, when we see a mass spectrum or any spectroscopy technique or spectrometry techniques, it is the data interpretation that is very, very important to us. That means when a graph is coming, so why a graph is coming in a peculiar manner. So here you can see all these are like straight lines, they are coming, and there is a pattern. There is a pattern in it. Means we have a small peak over here, and then a big peak is coming, and they are connected to the embedded values. Okay, so why these many fragments are coming, and how they are interrelated, and how these type of appearance of the peaks, some are big and some are small, some are very, very small. So their appearance, how it reflects, how the chemistry of the compound reflects in mass spectrometry is what we need to understand. Okay, so this is the molecular ion, and then whatever are there here, all these are what we call them as fragment ions. Means we are taking a big molecule and we are providing energy so that it is becoming ionized. So when we are providing energy that can ionize a molecule, that's a huge energy. So that's why the molecule may sometimes become unstable. So during energy redistribution, the molecule may get disconnected, or we call it as fragmented, and then the corresponding ions will also be generated. These are what we call them as daughter ions. Okay, so how this is happening, what is the science behind it, what are the various principles which actually governs this kind of fragmentation is what we will see today. Okay, so here in case of fragmentation, so how it is represented, so basic language is what we need to understand. Okay, so this is molecular ion. Here whatever we are seeing on the left side over here, my cursor is going on that. So that is giving you fragment ions. Okay, so this is the positively charged ion is what we call it as fragment ion, and this is the neutral fragment. So this will not be this will not appear in the mass spec. So in the mass spec, charged ion only will come, and neutral fragment does not appear in the mass spec. So this is the molecular ion, and this is represented like this. So when we are looking at the mass fragmentation pattern of an organic compound, so it is represented by the wavy line. Wavy line indicates the bond which is going to be broken, and the number whatever is shown over here is the direction of arrow is in this direction. So whatever fragment that is remaining, okay, so this entire fragment weighs 57. So that is the meaning of it. So whenever we represent mass spectral fragmentation, mass fragmentation of any compound, if a structure is given, so this is the way how it is to be represented. Okay. Next, first we need to see what are all the various factors that influence the ion abundance. Okay, so within this discussion, you will come to know why an organic compound, when provided with energy, why it gets dissociated or fragmented, and also because just now you have seen that in the mass spectra, you will see some of the peaks as very small peaks and some of them are very big. So bigger peaks means they have more stability, more ion abundance is there, okay. So what are the factors that actually influence the ion abundance is what we will see now. The most important one is the stability of the ion, stability of the product ion. So most importantly, the stability of the product ion. So whenever we take any ions, because you might have already seen in your B Pharmacy, ions like carbanion or carbocation or even a free radical, they will have their stability. Okay, so whenever an ion is more stable, naturally that ion will stand for more time, or more abundance will be there for that type of ions. So how many ways an ion can be stabilized? One is by electron sharing. Okay, so whenever we found an ion like this, then electron sharing can happen because oxygen has lone pair of electrons, so that can be donated, so thereby the charge is delocalized. Okay, so in this way the resonance stabilized structures are coming. So more the number of resonance stabilized structures, more will be stability. Okay, so this is another way how it is stabilized. Here complete delocalization of the pi electrons is happening. So in true sense, this is what we call it as delocalization through resonance stabilization. Okay, so here a positively charged species is there, it's a carbocation, and then the pi bonded electrons can come on this side, so double bond is shifting from side to side. So this is the way how resonance stabilization can also happen. The third one is dystonic or radical ions. So whenever a radical ion is there, so here you can see that positive charge an ion. Okay, this is what we call it as a radical ion. So the radical, so the unpaired electron over here can flow from place to place. So that is the way how radicals are highly unstable usually, but the movement of the electron, okay, so through through disposition of this electron from place to place. So radical sites can change. So thereby, as you increase the number of sites, the molecule will gain more and more stability. So this is what these are what we call them as dystonic radical ions. Means the ion and the radical over here, so it is changing its positions or changing its places. So here you can see the radical ion is over here. So in this case, this is the radical ion. Now ion radical came on this side. Okay, so this is the way how. So how that unpaired electron is changing its position from place to place. Usually in this type of situation, I am very sure you know a concept, we call it as hyperconjugation. So that type of facilitation will be made to use in attaining stability in case of dystonic radical ions. Okay. And the second and one of the oldest rule that is proposed by Dr. Stevenson is what we call the Stevenson's rule. This is in simple. In case of fragmentation, the largest radical always cleaves. So this is what he has observed while studying the mass spectral fragmentation pattern of alkanes and haloalkanes. So in this case, let's say when a big molecule is fragmenting, okay, the positive charge shall tend to remain with the largest fragment. Okay, so in that way, slowly the molecule will be fragmented, and ultimately the smaller fragments are going to arise. So this was further technically studied and upgraded, and they even observed that ionization energy and the ease of formation of a fragment ion were connected. So I have an example here. So here you can see that so this is butene, okay, 2-butene, and this is the mass spec of 2-butene. So here you can see that the first fragment, that is 41. So this fragment is formed, and methyl is separated as the radical. Means whenever a molecular ion is formed, so here this is actually odd electron species, and when it is dissociated, the radical unpaired electron stays with the neutral fragment. This is neutral. And positively charged species that is formed over here contains even electrons. Even electrons. Okay. So this is like that. So here this is odd electrons. This is even electrons. So to retain the positive charge, a species need to have more tendency, more ease with which it can form the ion. That is reflected in ionization energy. Okay. So ionization potential. So here it is 9.8 electron volts to form this ion fragments. Whereas in the second case, let's say if we assume that methyl carbocation is formed and the radical remains, neutral radical is formed on the other side. So here the ionization charge is 8.1 electron volts. And this facilitates formation of this ion more. And also just now we have seen that the propene ion, propene carbocation, whatever is formed over here, is stabilized via resonance stabilization. So that's the reason why you can see here the 41 is actually the base peak. This is actually the base peak. The reason, one of the reason is ionization energy is supporting it. Second one is resonance stabilization is also supporting it. But as far as Stephenson's rule is concerned, formation of the bigger ions is favored. Okay. In case of isomers of butanol, it is observed that the fragmentation happened over here. In case of 1-butanol, the base peak is 31. Dissociation of C3H7 means 3 carbons. Here 2 atom fragment is actually the neutral fragment. In case of 2-butanol, they found like mass 45 is actually the base peak. And the dissociation of ethyl group is proposed. So here how many atoms we have? Carbon, carbon, oxygen. Please forget about the protons here. And in case of tertiary butanol, he observed that dissociation of CH3 signal as the free radical or the neutral radical is observed. So here 1 atom is gone. Here how many atoms are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 atoms are there. So in this way, Stephenson's rule supported fragmentation pattern of many alkanes and haloalkanes, and here even alcohols. But there are so many what I can say exceptions are there, because of which they introduced the ionization energy concept here. So what is the role of ionization energy? More the ionization energy, that particular chemical entity can be ionized, means can bear the positive charge or negative charge easily. So that ionization energy, if it is more, formation ease with which the ion can form is more abundance will be there. Okay. So in this way we can understand. So here we have some examples over here. So as we all have seen in case of maybe B Pharmacy first year or second year, carbocations. So what type of stability will be there? Carbocations, primary carbocation, secondary and ternary carbocations will be, quaternary ions will be there. So as you increase the number of protons on a carbon, okay, the reactivity increases. Means if you keep on reducing the number of hydrogens, means when you go from primary to secondary, tertiary to secondary to tertiary, the stability of the carbocation increases. That is what we have studied already. So same trend you will observe over here. Okay, but we need to see not in terms of size, but in terms of ionization energy. Okay, so that is the slightest modification to Stephenson's rule, which was proposed way back in 1950s. The next one is when a fragment is formed. Okay, so it is both the positive charge, positively charged species, as well as the neutral fragment. So both are important for us. But in 99.99% of the cases, it is the stability of the ion which is more important. Okay, that is what we need to understand. But in some cases, if the carbon is connected to electron negative species are other heteroatoms like oxygen, nitrogen, halogens, sulfur, etc. So the neutral fragment also will be formed very easily because those atoms will have, like halogens, they will have electron withdrawing capacity, so that they can hold on to the electron, that is odd electron that is remaining. They can hold on to that electron easily. So in that way, it helps in the formation of even the neutral radical easily. Okay, I hope you are following me clearly. I made myself clear here. So in case of the neutral products, small stable molecules of high energy are favored on the other side, like protons, methyl, water, etc. So all these are some of the fragment ions that are formed very easily. So you can see in case of mass fragmentation, losses of 2, 16, 18, 28, 30, 32, 34, etc. All these are very common whenever the molecule has one or the other heteroatom. Let's say if you have an alcohol, primary or secondary or even tertiary, you can see loss of a water molecule. In the same way, when you have in your molecule a carboxylic acid, you will see loss of carbon dioxide, okay, as a neutral fragment, So these are all common observations. All these things you will see in the fragmentation analysis of individual functional groups, okay. And the next one is, so far we have seen 3 types of factors. This is the 4th factor, that is ion abundance is also dependent on entropy or steric effects. Let's say we have a molecule which is connected to an atom like this. Okay, so this is the carbon atom. It is connected to another carbon atom. This is connected to very heavy molecules. So in this case, you will have a lot of steric hindrance will be there, or we can say a lot of entropy will be there at this particular center. So fragmentation happens or it is favored to remove either this one or this one or this one, so as to relieve the steric effect, relieve the steric hindrance. Okay, so that is also possible. So let's see some examples. So in case of so this is another example. This is the benzylic paramannotoluene. Actually, paramannotoluene is the molecule. So this type of rearrangements also will help you. Means in this case, when a charge is over here, if this could be delocalized to other sites on this molecule, means when you have a proton here, positive charge, C is there, H is there, and here we have a benzene ring, okay, and we have a positive charge. So this is the primary carbocation. The positive charge cannot be compensated. Compensated means it cannot be, this charge density cannot be relieved by these hydrogens. So this is a state of very high entropy, and if this entropy is what forces the electron density that we have on nitrogen or amine to move, okay, so thereby it forms a quinone type of structure like this, okay. So what actually forced the benzylic carbocation to go into this type of a situation? It is the entropy at this particular center, okay. So that's the reason why we always will find this as the base peak. So paraminobenzylic carbocation as the base peak. It is very, very stable ion. It is getting stabilized via resonance. What is the origin? The origin is high entropy at the primary carbocation. So similar kind of situations you can see in different types of molecules. We will see some examples later on. Okay. So here, reaction initiation at radical or charge site. So fragmentation usually happens, reactions are often initiated at the favored site for the unpaired electron or the charge. Means, let's say we have a molecule. Let's say I am keeping here. What is the name of this molecule? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is a pentanol. Okay. So let's say if you are giving energy in electron impact mass spectrometry. So from where exactly we can remove that electron to make it ionized? So all these are carbons. So here we have oxygen, which has a lone pair of electrons. So when energy is given, when you see the electronic states or energy states of all these atoms, you will find only at oxygen electrons with relatively less energy, less energy that is sufficient to remove the electrons over here. Okay, so very high ionization energy you can find over here. So thereby, the most favored site for ionization is unpaired electron, or the after formation of charge, after formation of ion, the charge is what is going to dictate the fragmentation reaction. Okay, so the next one is, so favorability of electrons is the unpaired electrons or non-bound electrons, and then pi electrons, and then sigma electrons. Okay, so non-bonding electrons that are found on oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, or other heteroatoms are the electrons which are favored for removal in order to ionize the molecule. Okay, so whenever you are asked to locate the ionization center, probable ionization center for a molecule, or when you are given with a structure, and if you are asked to predict fragmentation pattern of a molecule, maybe it is as simple as cholesterol. So we can predict the center, ionization center, by looking at the type of electrons that are present. So easiest formation is, it is very easy to form an ion at by removing electrons from non-bonding region, non-bonding atoms, non-bonding electrons containing atoms like oxygen, sulfur, etc. Lone pair of electrons containing atoms. The second one is double bonds, C double bond C, C double bond O, etc. The third and least preferred is sigma. Even in case of sigma, polarized, in case of C single bond C and C single bond O, or C single bond Cl, etc. So most preferred is the highly polarized bonds, are the bonding electrons present in highly polarized bonds are first preferred rather than the non-polarized bonds. Okay, friends, I hope you are understanding what I am saying. Okay, please closely observe what I am saying. So if you have any doubt, please raise your voice. Okay, I can clarify your doubt on the spot. So another important point, some of the helpful rule for you is even odd electron rules. So here thermodynamics predicts that even electron ions rarely cleave to a pair of odd electron fragments. Okay, so whenever a molecule fragments, okay, you will always end up in having odd electrons containing ion. So when that is cleaved, either you get a carbocation or a carbanion. In either of the cases, you will always end up in having an even numbered ion. Even numbered ion. Okay. So this is what we had discussed already. This also we had discussed in Stephenson's rule. Next one is how many different types of ionization patterns or fragmentation patterns that are observed is what we have to see. Okay. So one is the sigma cleavage. The second one is homolytic alpha cleavage, that is radical site initiated. What are they? That we will see in the coming slides. Okay, don't worry. Third one is inductive cleavage, means charge site initiated heterolytic cleavage. Fourth one is multiple bond cleavages like some McLafferty rearrangement or Diels-Alder type of reactions, etc. Okay, so one by one we will see with examples. All of you please pay attention to what I am explaining here, because these are all something like rules for understanding how fragmentation happens. So if you could clearly understand what I am saying, it will be really easy for you to deduce mass fragment pattern for any unknown organic compound. Okay. In case of alpha cleavage, in case of sigma cleavage, so removal of an electron from a sigma bond via electron impact. Okay, sigma bond. So because electron impact weakens it. Okay. So in case of cleavage of a single bond, in the odd electron molecular ion, M plus star dot is how we represent it. It must always produce an even electron fragment. Okay. So whatever we observed in case of Stephenson's rules, okay, that butene, when it is fragmented, the fragmented ion will have even electrons with it. As the bond breaks, one of the fragment gets the remaining electron and it will be separated as a neutral fragment. The other fragment is charged, okay, that contains even electron species. The next one is, so here to reduce your confusion, let me clarify. Okay, so let's say if this is the molecule that we are talking about, and this is actually the sigma bond. Okay, so upon electron impact, because one of the electron is gone, then what happened? CH3, only one electron is there, and CH3, because one of the electron is gone, so we have a positive charge. Okay, so if you see clearly, these two electrons, one is contributed by this, the other one is contributed by this. And while fragmentation, okay, and if it is separated like this will contain the electron, that is actually carbon's electron, and is separated. For this, no charge will be there. No charge will be there because this is a free radical. For this, the charge remains with this because it lost its electron. It lost its electron. Further, here you will see always even numbered electrons. Okay, 2n plus, sorry, how many electrons are there? 3 2s are 6, 3 2s are 6 plus 2. 12 plus 2. 14 electrons are there in the bondings. So whereas one of the electron, if it is gone, 13 electrons will be there in the bonding orbitals. So it is it will give an odd electron. Here you will have only 13 electrons. And when it is fragmented, the one of the electron is moving with this carbon, so it will become a free radical. So here how many electrons will be there? 6 electrons will be there in the bonding orbital and a positive charge because the carbon lost its electron. So that is in simple you can understand what is even electron containing charged species and odd electrons containing or neutral free radical. Highly substituted carbocations are more stable. So that is what we knew. Okay, in case of carbocations or Carbanian chemistry, okay, primary is tertiary is more stable than secondary, is more stable than primary. Okay, the same rule is applied even here also. And highly substituted carbocations are more stable. And cleavage of C1C2 bond in long N alkanes is not favored. Lower ionization energy fragments are favored, and long N alkane chains tend to produce many fragments, because as you increase the number of carbons in a molecule, obviously, because when the molecule becomes so big, you can have multiple charged centers, more chances will be there, so more permutations and combinations will be there as far as the type of fragmentations is concerned. Okay, but there will always be a pattern for that, because so far millions and millions of organic compounds were studied. So that's the reason why we always can predict the patterns can be studied. The next one is next concept in sigma cleavage is how actually the bond cleavage happens. So this is what I explained just now in case of ethane. Okay, so this is the molecular ion. So from one of the bonding orbital, it is most probably between the carbon and carbon. So positive charge remains with one of the carbon, and free radical is generated, that is neutral free radical is generated. That is via cleavage of C single bond C. The next one is cleavage of C and heteroatom. So it is also possible. It is also possible to, because in organic compounds we will also have, okay, we will also have heteroatoms. So when a heteroatom is there, heteroatoms, nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur, or even sometimes halogens, they tend to pull away electron with them because of their electronegativity or one or the other factor. So that's the reason why cleavage happens like this. Okay, carbon bears the positive charge and the heteroatom takes away the lone pair of electrons. Okay, the pair of electrons, so that it forms a free radical. So this is one simple information for you. So usually we represent movement of a single electron via curved single barbed arrow, fish hook. Okay, what is the meaning of fish hook? So if you represent like this is an arrow, means when a pair of electrons are moving from bond to bond, this is what we show. But only when one electron only has to move, we use single barbed or fish hook. Okay, fish hooks looks like this. Okay, so this is like that. Okay, fish hook like a representation will be given. So whenever you are going through any technical document, or if you are asked to prepare a technical document with fragmentation pattern for any organic compound, so this is the way how you have to represent the movement of electron from one atom to another atom, or from a bond to atom. Okay, the next one is, let's see one example. So in case of one bond cleavage, so this is the compound, and here surprisingly what we are expecting is, this is, what is this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tertiary pentane, or we call it as neopentane or something like that. Okay, so here it is fragmented so that M-15 is observed. Its molecular weight is 72. So we are expecting a peak over here, but we always will see formation of M/Z57 as the base peak. Okay, you all have to remember one thing, because in case of mass spectrometry, ionization happens and then it will go to an analyzer, and from here to a detector. Okay, so a species, if it is formed over here, it has to travel a long way. So this ion need to have enough shelf life, enough life, so that it can survive from the site of ionization to analyzer to detector. Sometimes, because of various factors that I have explained already, steric factor and other factors, these tend to fragment so that stable fragments are produced. So here, this is one typical example of how it is possible. So if you see here, this carbocation is very, very stable. Tertiary carbocation is of highest stability. Here, two things you have to remember. So what is the factor which is a result, which is responsible for bond cleavage here? You can see this is an electron rich environment. This is also electron rich environment. This is also electron rich environment. This is also electron rich environment. So you will have a lot of steric hindrance. A lot of entropy will be there. So that's the reason why it tend to relieve its steric hindrance by fragmentation. So that's the reason why it is eager to fragment. So thereby you are getting a tertiary butyl carbocation as the base peak. So here it is trigonal. So all the charges are placed at a distance 120 degrees. So thereby the steric hindrance is relieved. Further, it is producing a tertiary carbocation which is of highest stability as far as carbocations are concerned. Okay. So friends, this is the way how one bond sigma cleavage can happen. The next one is, so just now we have seen the role of steric hindrance. Now let us see the role of ionization energy. So here the exact mass of hexane is 86.11. So through the alpha cleavage, we are getting a fragment, alpha 2 cleavage. Alpha 2 means this is sigma 1 only, sigma 1, sigma, this is first bond, second bond, third bond, fourth bond, fifth bond. Okay. So the second bond is broken so that ion 57, the peak is coming over here. 57 peak is coming over here. And then this is the 86, 2-methyl pentane. In case of 2-methyl pentane, this is the molecular ion. You can see molecular ions abundance is very less. The reason why it is very less, because it's a big molecule and it's a alkane. So there is always a possibility that whenever we have a positively charged species, in case of straight chain alkanes or branched chain alkanes, it tend to rearrange so as to get more stable carbocations. So here in this case, it is fragmented. If you apply Stephenson's rule, upon fragmentation, bigger ion is supposed to be formed. So here methyl free radical is removed so that we got this fragmentation ion via Stephenson's rule. Sigma cleavage is happening. The next one is, again, in case of the second fragment, so the 71 fragment can further get degraded. So here, because it is split into two with equal numbers, so it doesn't matter which is a free radical and which is a carbocation. But here, if you see clearly, this is a secondary carbocation and it is a very high, or it is of high stability. So here you can see 43 is the base peak. 43 is the base peak. In most of the cases, we have to try various options to understand the fragmentation pattern of any chemical moiety. Okay. So many permutations and combinations are needed. The next one is, in case of alpha cleavage, so that is all about the sigma cleavage. In case of alpha cleavage, what is the meaning of alpha? Cleavage is caused when an electron from a bond to an atom adjacent to the charge site pairs up with the radical. Okay, so usually when in the nearby atom, in the neighboring atom, heteroatoms like nitrogen, sulfur, oxygen, chlorine, bromine, etc., if they are there, they will tend to induce alpha cleavage. So I'll show you the example so that it will help you understand very easily. So in this case, so this is the carbon atom to which a heteroatom is connected. So to this is the alpha carbon. Alpha carbon is cleaved. How it is cleaved? Because the heteroatom is actually pairing up with the atom, nearby carbon atom. So these two are paired. Because the heteroatom like oxygen, nitrogen, etc., they have lone pair of electrons. So thereby they help bear the positive charge. They help bear the positive charge in this way. Okay, in this way. So that they are almost always bonded via double bond C. And on the other hand, you can also have a probable ion formation like this, the heteroatom itself bearing the charge. This is very, very rare. So whenever we have a double bond, it is also possible that C triple bond heteroatom is possibility. If you have C double bond, we usually see that in case of ketones, you will see it getting stabilized via C triple bond O plus. Okay, so this is 12 plus 16, 28. So this ion is a very popular ion in case of ketones. So this is a possibility. Okay. The next one is, so for example, in case of alcohols, they tend to undergo alpha cleavage. Okay, so if you have an alcohol, two possibilities are there. One is alcohol group is separated as water molecule. Second one is it induces cleavage, alpha cleavage like this. So here what is happening? So from here it is picking up an electron. So thereby it is forming a double bond O H. So that positive charge is over here. Because it has a lone pair of electrons, it helps reduce the increase the stability of the cation, because it can adjust its electron density easily. Okay, so in case of what is this compound? This is like a tertiary alcohol. So here we have a secondary alcohol over here. So in the secondary alcohol, because secondary alcohols, when we create charge, so charge will stay over here near to the electron rich environment like this. And what it does, so it will actually cleave the remaining part in such a manner that the cleavage relieves or it produces secondary carbocations or ternary carbocations. Okay, so here you can see this type of a cleavage, okay, is creating M plus minus 43. 1, 2, 3. Okay, these three carbon species, because here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 atoms are coming on the other side. So if you apply Stephenson's rule, bigger fragments are easy to form. So in this way, M minus 43 ion is going to be formed. So this is the fragment that is going to be generated. And the second one is you can have loss of this one also. So you may ask me a question, sir, you said like bigger ions are going to be formed and then other fragments are not formed. So here if you see CH3, CH, CH3. So here formation of this secondary carbocation favors. So that's the reason why Stephenson's rule does not apply to carbocation formation, where we need to take into consideration ionization energy. Okay. So here also same kind of trend you can see. So loss of this ion is it gives you 73, and loss of propyl unit will give you mass of 59. Okay, so it is like this. Okay, so here you can see the 43 ion over here. In case of butanone, this is what I am saying. Okay, in case of butanone, fragmentation can happen because positive charge is always ascribed to only, attached to only oxygen. So how the fragmentation happens? Fragmentation happens like this. If you apply Stephenson's rule, bigger fragments are supposed to be formed. Bigger fragments are supposed to be formed. So here fragmentation happens at the alpha carbon, alpha bond. So thereby C triple bond O is going to be formed. Okay, so its ionization energy is very high. So formation of this ion is favored. At 57, you can see formation of this one. And the next one is formation of the 43 ion over here. So here you can see why it is like more stable. Triple bond O plus. Okay. So this is what is happening. So there is a possibility that rearrangement can happen over here. So that's why this particular ion is very high abundance ion is coming, and it is forming a base peak. So to summarize, if you have a fragmentation of removal of methyl free radical, you will get the ion 72. 72 is the mass ion. If you remove this fragment ion 57 is going to come. If you fragment over here and ethyl free radical, if you remove, you will get 43. That is the base peak is coming. So in case of ketones, alpha bond cleavage happens on either side. On either side. Please remember this one. So this is hexanol. Its mass is 116. But where is the 116? There is no 116. Why it is happening? As I told you earlier, whenever we have a situation where ternary or quaternary carbons are there, the quaternary carbons, they tend to degrade in such a manner to relieve their entropy or steric hindrance. So here OH group facilitates this particular fragmentation. So how it is happening? If you follow Stephenson's rule, we need to remove the smallest free radical. So methyl group, if you remove it, you are going to form C double bond OH plus. So this is the ion that is going to be formed. That is 101. And then further fragmentation happens if you keep methyl, and if you remove the ethyl free radical, then 87 is going to come. And if you go further, if you remove propyl unit, you are going to get 73. You are going to get 73. So as you are increasing the number of substituents and size of the substituent, as we have seen earlier also, the number of rearrangements, number of ionization sites, number of possibilities are going to be reduced. So thereby this particular ion can survive for more time. So 73 is the base peak over here. All of you, are you able to understand what I am saying? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, good. So that is all about the cleavage of 3-methyl-3-hexanol via sigma, so via alpha cleavage. Via alpha cleavage means next to the functional group, the bond is cleaved. The next one is heterolytic charge site initiated cleavage. So here, let's see the example. Okay, so charged site is over here. Now that will induce fragmentation of the bond. I cleavage means at the site. Ipso, I means ipso. Let's say carbon bromine bond is there. What is the term we use for carbon? Let's say if you wanted to give the positions, we call this as alpha, this is beta, this is gamma. So what is this carbon? This carbon is ipso. Okay. So this is I cleavage. So ipso bond cleavage means CH2 and Br, the bond cleavage is happening like this. Okay. As I told you, the heteroatoms, electronegative atoms, they tend to retain the electron. So this is one possibility. Okay. So 135 we need to get. Here you can see on the other day I have explained about this one. In case of bromine, we get M and M plus 2. M plus 2 in almost 1:1 ratio. So that is what you can see over here. So when it is fragmented, the fragment ion 57 is coming. So that is over here. Because this fragment ion can easily rearrange. So to obtain CH3 is going to be formed. So that possibility is there. That's the reason why 57 ion is the base peak in this particular fragmentation. So in case of pentanone, how the fragmentation is happening? Fragmentation is happening at the ipso carbon. In case of 3-pentanone, that is alpha cleavage, I cleavage of 3-pentanone. So this is about the halothane. In case of halothane, the bromine unit is actually it forces the breakage of bond with the ipso carbon. So the ipso carbon is connected to halogens, so it facilitates breakage of bond between the ipso carbon and the next ones. The next one is in charge stabilizing type of reactions. One second. So this is benzene ring. This is benzene, and we have CH3 here. Positive. Okay. So in this type of a situation, are benzylic radicals. Benzylic unit means when you see formation of benzyl carbocation in a compound, then this will be rearranged to tropane. Okay. So tropylium carbocation is going to be formed. Okay. This is so unique. This is so unique that it is observed in almost all the cases where we have a benzylic radical being formed. So this is also charge stabilizing ability of the aromatic group can dominate the electron impact spectrum. This is also charge stabilized formation of or fragmentation pattern only, but here propylium ion is formed because it follows Huckel's rule. It's a 7-membered ring. It is aromatic, so that's the reason why it is formed very easily. And the propylium gets fragmented to give the 65, means the pentadiene ion will form, and that will be further fragmented. So this is 91. So if you take this compound, propyl benzene, you will see formation of 91, and 91 is the base peak. So this is phenylalanine. In case of phenylalanine also, you will see formation of 91, but here 74 is so this is 120. So first one is because we have carboxylic acid will be cleaved, means 45 unit is removed, and then cleavage will happen so that 91 is formed. It is like that. Okay. So friends, I hope you understood the concept here. So whenever you found a molecule, all possibilities as far as fragmentation is concerned are to be considered. Sometimes they happen simultaneously, or sometimes they happen one after another. So our ultimate objective is to explain the fragmentation pattern. Okay. So here multiple bond cleavages means very few cases are there where, because when we are providing a lot of energy, thermal degradation type of mechanisms are going to be initiated. Thermal degradation. Okay. So Diels order reaction is temperature controlled. So in case of Diels-Alder reaction, reversal is also possible. So usually diene and dienophile, when they were treated to each other at appropriate temperature, you are going to get the product. And if you take the product and if you subject it to thermal degradation, so you will get the diene and dienophile. Okay, it is a reversible reaction. So in case of mass spectrometry, whenever we have a cyclic compound with 6 carbons and 1 double bond, there is always a possibility that it undergoes Diels-Alder retro-Diels-Alder reaction, so that the corresponding diene and dienophile are going to be generated. In all the cases, the diene will bear the positive charge. Diene will bear the positive charge. Okay. So even if you take cyclohexane, the fragmentation happens like this, so that a diene is formed, dienophile is formed, and then an equivalent of a diene, because here you have the free radical, here you have the positive charge, and you can have a double bond over here and here. Okay, this is the way how fragmentation is happening. Okay, we'll have a detailed discussion on this one in the later slides. So when we have a double bond, okay, cyclohexene, if it is there, in case of retro-Diels-Alder reaction, what will happen? Usually in case of Diels-Alder reaction, it works like this. We have this. So it goes like this. So thereby cyclohexene is formed. Okay, so if you wanted to go in reverse, you have to do the reversal. Like this, and like this. So that a diene and dienophile are generated. But here, as we have to fragment via single ion transfers, so that's the reason why fish hook arrangements are shown over here and here. So this is the way how the fragmentation is happening. Okay, the second one is Mac-Lafferty rearrangement. Mac-Lafferty rearrangement is a very popular rearrangement as far as mass spectrometry is concerned, because Mac-Lafferty is the scientist who is actually responsible for fragmentation, who put a lot of effort in spreading the application of mass spectrometry to structural elucidation. Okay, so here what is happening? The general structure looks like this. Okay, here you can have X. Here you should have H. To this carbon, alpha, beta, and gamma. On the gamma carbon, we needed a proton. And to the ipso carbon, we needed a double bond. And the remaining atoms, means alpha to beta, beta to gamma, must be single bonds. So if this is the situation that is available, in that case, what will happen? So this is usually a heteroatom or electron withdrawing capacity containing atom, or even a simple carbon atom. So normally what happens? The bond cleaves over here, and then hydrogen is transferred onto this. Okay, so bond cleaves like this, and then bond cleaves over here. It goes like this. It goes like this. So you have a double bond over here because this bond is cleaved, and the double bond is shifted. Okay, double bond is shifted because the electron pair, hydrogen is moving from this atom to X without taking its electron pair. Okay, as a H plus it is moving. So the electron pairs that we have in this double bond are contributed to formation of bond between X and H. So we have a double bond here, and then double bond X H. So this type of fragmentation is a very popular fragmentation which explains some of the typical rearrangements, etc. In case of natural products, etc. Okay, so this is what we call it as McLafferty rearrangement. It is observed that always the double bonded, it means the diene, sorry, the double bonded fragment, whatever is formed over here, this is always the neutral fragment, and the charge remains with this one, with the second part, bigger part. For example, if you see the mass spectrum of 3-methyl-2-pentanone, so here X is oxygen, we have alpha, beta and gamma. So if you write it appropriately, double bond O and CH3 is over here. So here I am representing only one hydrogen. This is CH3, CH2, CH2. Okay, CH3 is over here. We have CH3 here. This is CH2. This is CH3. Okay. So first thing is, and then it looks like retro Diels-Alder type of reaction, but it is not. Okay, C double bond C. So here we have CH2, here we have CH2, and then because in here usually you will have the charge. So C double bond C, CH3, OH and CH3. So this is the way how the fragmentation is formed, and positive charge remains with this entity. Okay. So the exact mass for this is 100. When the fragmentation happens, first one is, because this is a ketone, ketone mediated alpha bond cleavage is possible. So this is formed. So in the formation of this, there are three possibilities. All the three possibilities are shown over here. One is the charge is with the heteroatom, charge is with the bigger fragment, and the charge is with the smaller fragment. This is also a possibility. But here in the mass spec, when you see the 72 cannot be explained by using any of the three things that we had seen so far. Either sigma bond cleavage, alpha bond cleavage, or charge induced alpha bond cleavage. None of them, I cleavage, none of them can explain the fragmentation which gives 72. So if you see the McLafferty rearrangement, and if you understand that, then only you will find formation of 72, that is over this. Okay. So friends, I hope you understood the concepts very clearly. So these are the basic principles based on which mass fragmentation happens. Okay. So thank you all for your patient listening.